Understanding and accepting the reality of spirit is a big deal. I cannot overstate how big a deal it is. Angels and demons exist. They are all around us. We seldom see them, but they see us. They see everything. Everything. They are at war among themselves. A war that began before we existed, and that war continues with us being sucked into it, whether we like it or not. God of the universe created us for himself. God's self-designated opponent is Satan. But Satan has no authority over the all-powerful God. So Satan attacks God by deceiving and destroying us, the ones who God made for himself. The bottom line weapon of our enemy, his most effective starting point for our destruction, is him convincing us that he does not exist. Atheists will mock me for this belief, but they're not mocking me. I'm just a pawn in this chess game. They're mocking the one who literally, and I'm using literally in the literal sense, the one who literally, personally, is holding the atoms of their body together with his power. Yeah, literally. So what's with this spirit battle? We can't fight Satan. Our only defense against him is with and in the only one who has power over him. We're the frog in the water. Satan turns up the heat and tells us to just relax and enjoy the warmth. God holds out his hand and says, "This will destroy you. Let me take you out of this pot of water." The atheist closes her eyes and says, "This warm water feels so good. There's no reason to believe this ever will change. Don't throw conspiracy theories at me. And anyway, I see no hand." Fear of God is the beginning of wisdom, and understanding the truth, the reality of an eternal spirit dimension is foundational to having a true understanding of God who created us, and an understanding even of who we are. Out-of-body experiences with near-death experiences show us first that we are both body and spirit, and that when this body dies, our spirit continues to live with all the consciousness we have in this life. In this post, I'll have some comments on the spirit dimension, but most of it is witness accounts telling us that spirits do exist. But on with the post. I don't believe science will ever create life. I believe the spirit that leaves the body in out-of-body experiences is life. Notice that when someone has a near-death experience, they may be clinically dead, and this spirit is not in the body. And for them to revive, the spirit comes back. It always comes back when they revive. When someone is dead, they can be on life support, but there is nothing medical science can do to bring life to that unalive body. The organs may all be intact. The support systems may be keeping everything from decaying, but there will be no life there, and there is nothing anyone can do to bring life to reanimate that body. I was just reading in Zechariah, which sort of prompted me to do this one again. In Zechariah 12, verse 1, the Lord who stretches out the heavens, lays the foundation of the earth, and forms the spirit of a person within him. I believe that our spirit is really the eternal us, and this body that we have is like a sheath that holds our spirit while this body is alive. And then when this body passes away, the spirit continues to live. There is a spirit world, what I will call a spirit dimension, that exists.
You said you think you were attacked by a demon. And I have to tell you, like, a lot of people mock this, they roll their eyes, but I look at, like, what happened to Charlie, what happened in the wake of Charlie, what happened at the Ascension School in Minneapolis, where that man went in there and shot a bunch of little children praying at their church school. And I challenge anyone to tell me there aren't demons among us.
Well, I never thought there were. I thought the whole thing was, like, bizarre.
So what happened?
Because, like, culturally, I'm just not from a world where people are attacked by demons. And in fact, when it happened the next morning, when I saw the blood on my sheets, I was like, I actually called someone who works for me who's a very sincere, lifelong evangelical, and I'm like, have you ever heard of this? And she's like, oh yeah, it happens all the time. And I was like, what? Not to Episcopalians, it doesn't.
Stuff it down.
Yeah, no, it was wild. Yeah, I mean, I'm not embarrassed at all, and I don't care if I'm mocked. Don't get anything out of making this up, and I'm not making it up.
But what happened?
I wake up at 2:30 in the morning. I check and I couldn't breathe at all. My throat was closed. It wasn't like I was apnea or was strong as I couldn't breathe. So I get up, I stand in the doorway of our bedroom, and I'm like, wow, I'm dying. I could feel myself starting to gray out. And then I started walking in the backyard, and then it slowly came back. Like, my throat kind of opened up a little bit. I was like really weirded out. I walk back in, and my wife wakes up. She goes, what is going on? I said, I don't know. I can't breathe. I feel better now. And all of a sudden, I had this horrible pain underneath my arms, like on the side of my chest, like bad. I thought I'd been, like, ripped with a knife or something. It just was very intense. So I go into the bathroom, I flip on the light, and I have claw marks on both sides, on right and left side on my ribs, and they're bleeding. And they're literally claw marks, 4 on either side. I put my fingers in them, don't fit my fingers, and I sleep on my side. So how could? And by the way, no one woke up. So I show my wife, and she's like, oh my gosh. And then I have this, like, crazy intense desire to read the Bible. So I read the Bible, and I pass out in, like, 2 minutes, and I wake up, and the next morning I thought, man, did I have a wild dream? And then I see blood in my sheets, and I go in the bathroom, and I have these bloody marks. And my wife goes, I think you were attacked by some supernatural being. And I was, like, trying to be logical about it. And I was like, yeah, I definitely was. And then I called one of my producers who's like, oh, yeah, well, that's pretty common.
Here's what I love about following Jesus from someone who was a witch for 15 years. I love the fact that I do not live in fear or anxiety anymore the way I did in witchcraft. No, there's nobody following me around my house. No, there's nothing holding me down in my sleep anymore. No, I don't have to manifest to make my life nice. No, I don't have to keep up with spells anymore. I walk in such confidence every single day that I'm covered by the blood of Jesus. So are my kids. We're good, we're safe, we're sweet. That peace that God gives you genuinely does surpass all understanding. In witchcraft, there's no peace. It is chaos, it's carnage. Fourth, I don't have that impending sense of doom anymore, like something bad's going to happen to me. I actually look forward to the good things that God's going to do in my life. I love the way Jesus always surprises me. I have no idea what's coming in my future, and that is actually really nice. So while those tarot cards were cursing my life, Jesus comes in with blessing after blessing after blessing. Yeah, there's challenges, but he leads me correctly. Then we have the new wisdom that God gives you. Now, you may think you've got a lot of wisdom in witchcraft and new age because there's a lot to look at, but when you start following Jesus, he opens your eyes to things you will never have seen before. He gives you visions, he gives you ideas, he gives you prompts, he gives you so much insight into something you would have even considered before. A lot of the wisdom that comes from me isn't me. I'm actually not all that smart. God will actually work through you as well. I love to see what God's going to do next. Genuinely, I have no idea. I take my hands off. I no longer have to worry about things. I'm actually protected against the demonic without having to do spells bells to do that every 5 minutes. I love following Jesus because he is who he says he is, and everything he says to do in that Bible works in your daily life. Jesus comes through on his word every single time.
The heart of everything, the bottom line, influences to our culture, and every culture is and always has been the spirit world. But what about current evidence? We have out-of-body experiences and near-death experiences. And the evidence in my mind is basically a person being in two places at the same time. And listen to that. Don't let that skip by you. Two places at the same time. That, to me, is the heart of the evidence. There will be someone who is clinically dead, laying on a bed in one room in a hospital, while their consciousness is going somewhere else, into another room, seeing other things. And when the person is revived, which seems to be defined as this other consciousness returning to the body so that the body and the spirit are again one, which I choose to define as life. Our spirit residing in our body, we are then alive. When our spirit leaves our body, we are dead. That's me. So when that consciousness returns, that person remembers what that consciousness has seen. And that consciousness has gone to another location and sees things that this person can recite that can only be true, can only be known if that consciousness were actually there. I just copied a paragraph, the bottom of one page, the top of another page, from Beyond Death by Gary Habermas and J.P. Moreland, and also the footnote. Here is the first part. Here is the second part of the paragraph. And here is the footnote. If you want to see a couple examples of that, here's one source, here's another source. And those sources are summarized in this book, Beyond Death, Gary Habermas and J.P. Moreland. There is a movement in Muslim countries of Muslim followers of Islam coming to Jesus.
In many Middle Eastern countries, it's illegal to share the Christian message. So what is God doing? He's bringing dreams about Jesus to these people. This is a phenomenon that is sweeping the Middle East. I'll give you an example. A woman named Noor, mother of 8, Muslim, lives in Cairo. One night, she has a Jesus dream. It's the most profound, vivid dream, unlike any other she's ever had. And Jesus appears to her. She feels the love and the grace and the forgiveness and the kindness of Jesus just radiating from him. And she's overwhelmed by it. She's never felt anything like it. And they're walking along a lake. And she says, Jesus, tell me more about you. And he says, my friend will tell you. A guy was walking with them along the lakeside. The next day, she goes to the crowded marketplace in Cairo. She sees the man from her dream. Wow. She goes up to him. You were in my dream. She said, whoa, what are you talking about? You were the man in my dreams. And he said, did you have a dream about Jesus?
I have a friend, an Egyptian friend, who knows people to whom that has happened, people to whom Jesus has appeared. This person who told me knows and is reliable. There are other instances. I have a nephew. He and his wife were house parents in Rift Valley Academy. In the early 1950s, there was an uprising of the Mau Mau tribe in Kenya. The tribe was going around destroying white people. They had completely taken out one village, over 300 people, and they were on their way to also destroy those at Rift Valley Academy, a boarding school for missionary children. The people at Rift Valley heard that the Mau Maus were coming and called for military help. But the military didn't get there until after the Mau Mau's arrived. The Mau Mau's were on their way, but then turned and ran into the woods. The military captured the rebels and put them on trial, and during a trial they said, "Did you do what you did to this village?" And the particular person on trial said, "Yeah, we did." "Were you intending to do the same to Rift Valley Academy?" He says, "Yeah, we were intending to. We were on our way." "Well, why didn't you?" They said, "When we got there, the compound was surrounded by soldiers. They decided they better not attack, and they took off into the woods." Rift Valley Academy did not have anyone guarding it. Those were angels to protect those at Rift Valley Academy. And as far as reality goes, the spirit world is much more real than this world. What might be the takeaway? The wise person will support a healthy eternal spirit, even at the expense of a healthy temporal body. File that somewhere where you have easy access to it.